Welcome back to another video, and today we have a big one. For 2,000 subscribers, I decided to do a Q&A and have viewers submit any questions they wanted to. I already did do a Q&A for 1K, but I thought it wasn't very good, and a lot of the questions weren't actual questions. Anyways, let's get right into it. So to start off, we have our first question from the legendary egg49999533331egg, my favorite player. And the question they say is, what has kept you playing Skywars for so long, and have you ever considered quitting forever? So honestly, I don't fully know what the specific reason for me wanting to get into Skywars was in the first place. I guess I just wanted to learn how to PvP better, and Skywars just seemed really appealing to me at the time. And it's also kind of a fast-paced game compared to a game like Bed Wars, which I just cannot handle. So I really enjoy the gameplay, and I think it has just a lot of interesting tech to it. Unfortunately, I think it's in a bit of a worse state now than it was when I started, but I still do think it's a very unique game, at least with the way Hypixel made it. And I don't know, I've just always enjoyed playing it, and I just think it's been a super memorable experience. And I have definitely considered quitting forever multiple times, but then I realized that I probably won't ever quit Skywars forever. There's definitely been times where I've took breaks, and there was actually a time where I did say that I was going to quit forever, but I didn't really understand what I was saying at that time. I should have just said I really wanted a break, because I did need a break, but I thought in my mind that it was going to be quitting forever, so that's why I said that at the time. But I definitely do take breaks, and I definitely do need them sometimes, but for now, I've been playing consistently recently, and yeah, it's been good. The next question comes from H, and they ask, how are you only 17 years of age? Bad RNG, that's how. The next question comes from Grifficato, and they ask, when did you start playing Minecraft, Hypixel, and Skywars? And when did you, and what made you decide to have Skywars as your main mode to grind? So to start off with Minecraft, I've been playing Minecraft since I was probably 6 years old, bro. I came straight out of the womb with a controller in my hand playing on the Xbox 360. I used to go over to my neighbor's house and we used to play split screen single player, and that was the good days, bro. We beat the Ender Dragon and stuff, and we had a crazy world. So I missed that a lot. But yeah, that's basically was my first time playing Minecraft was on the Xbox 360 edition. Hypixel, my first login on Hypixel is 2015, but I've definitely haven't been playing since 2015. Actively, I'd say I'd started playing since around 2018, 2017-ish. I didn't fully get into it until that time, so I'd say it's around that time. And Skywars I've also been playing for a very long time. I've probably half a decade at this point, but I've actively only been playing Skywars for actually only 3 years, because I was 23 star basically a bit over 3 years ago, which is, 3 years sounds like a long time, but it really isn't if you think about it. So it's actually been quite a fast journey. And I kind of just chose Skywars because, like I said in the first question, I just really like the fast-paced gameplay of Skywars, and I think there's a lot of really cool things to go for as well. And I don't know, it's just a very interesting game for me to learn and learn how to play and all the tech behind it. So that's really the main reason behind it. The next question comes from some real dude, and they ask, can you change your auto GG to Booner? Yes, I can actually. I will do that right now. And I will be naming my sword Crewbinator just for you. The next question comes from Infinite Soup, and they ask, when and how did you learn Russian? I actually just spawned in with the ability to learn Russian, and the only reason I use it is just to know what the bee-hoppers and snipers are saying to me. I gotta know who my ops are, Alright, in all seriousness, my parents are Ukrainian, so they both know Russian and Ukrainian, so I've been taught Russian ever since I was born, pretty much, so I learned Russian and English growing up. I can also understand Ukrainian pretty well, but I can't speak it at all because I never practiced it. But my parents speak to me in Russian, so I always have a lot of Russian practice every single day, and I honestly think it's just pretty cool to have. And I will add one old funny clip just for you, Infinite Soup. The next question comes from Kanye Fan30, and they ask, do you believe high ping is an advantage or disadvantage? Now, I think objectively, high ping is a disadvantage, but the thing is, with high ping, at least on Minecraft, there's a lot of weird things that happen once you have higher ping. Knockback does not make sense at all once you're at higher ping, and if you fight a person with high ping, everybody knows the experience, and that knockback literally makes no sense. And sometimes people with high ping just don't even have to rod, because if you throw projectiles at a high ping player, sometimes it's just not even going to do anything because it's like, they don't take knockback like the way you're meant to take knockback because of their ping. So in cases like that, I do believe it's an advantage, but for the most part, I do think it's still a disadvantage because playing with high ping is still really hard, and everything is super delayed. So yeah, it's really just mainly the knockback stuff that's kind of annoying with high ping. The next question comes from Henry, and they ask, what supports you to keep grinding Skywars as the amount of players are dropping and there are cheaters everywhere? So honestly, even though the player count is dropping, that's still not going to change my enjoyment with the game because the game is still the same no matter how many people are playing it. Of course, it is different when there's completely sweaty queues and, there's cheaters everywhere, but like objectively, the game is still the same thing, even if there's a 10,000 players or, 10 players, right? So, my enjoyment doesn't really change with that. And the cheaters part, I mean, there's a lot of cheaters, but I still do think people exaggerate with how many cheaters are. Okay, to be fair, in lower matchmaking queues, there are actually like B-hoppers every single queue. But like in general, like there's not that big of a problem with cheaters and Skywars, at least in my matchmaking queues. It's just like really sweaty players is all, but I'd rather deal with those than cheaters. The next question comes from Fragile Snow, and they ask, at what point did you decide to commit to getting 100 stars? You may not believe this, but genuinely the thing that pushed me to get 100 stars was people did not stop asking me, when are you getting 100 stars? When are you getting 100 stars? I'm not even kidding. That actually frustrated me to the point where I actually was just like, okay, I'm literally just going to play for 10 hours every single day until I get 100 stars. And I literally did that. That is actually unironically how much that frustrated me because it was such a silly thing. And like, I don't like when somebody asks me that question, like, how am I supposed to respond? It's not like I know exactly when I'm getting 100 stars. They just like say that to like, make me want to get it. And I guess it kind of worked. But yeah, that is actually the only reason why I got 100 stars. The next question comes from Veshel, and they ask, when is the return of the Blood and Bones mod pack? Now that is a good question. You should ask that to myself in 2019. Let me know what he says. The next question comes from Neo Dango, and they ask, what are some game sense tips you could explain, like meta strategies and stuff? Now, I could talk about this for probably hours, but probably like the two biggest things I'd say for Skywars, and it may seem pretty obvious, but I'd say the first one would be very spatially aware. And by that, I mean, like, if you're taking fights, you should see like who's around you and like think about what gear you have compared to them. And, of course, I still make mistakes with that all the time, but it's definitely like the number one tip I could give in Skywars. And I'd also just say, like, try to get as much mid loot as possible. Like, that is honestly like the main part of Skywars. Like, you need to get as much mid loot as you can because mid loot is very good. So as long as you can get to mid as quick as possible and loot as much as you can, you should be good. The next question comes from 1789MS, and they ask, what would you do if Hypixel suddenly shut down? I would create Hypixel V2 if that were to happen. The next question comes from Economy, and they ask, do you have plans to branch out and make non-Hypixel content? Well, I already have made a lot of non-Hypixel content, actually, if you look at my channel. If by non-Hypixel content you mean like stuff on Minecraft that isn't Hypixel, I might, but I have no plans on doing that right now because Hypixel is really the only thing I do on Minecraft. But I do make videos for other games as well, and I do really enjoy making those as well. But right now, I'm mainly just focusing on Hypixel, so yeah. The next question comes from Billy Flowers, and they ask, who is Assxx? Will you ever collab with him? Okay, guys, so if you don't know who the infamous Assxx is, let me give you a little bit of lore. So, like I think over a year ago now, I did a Creeper Attack World Record stream where me and like a bunch of other Skywars mains decided to group together and beat the Creeper Attack World Record, which is like super random, but it was actually really easy to go for, so we thought we might as well, and it was super fun. But there was this guy in my chat named Assxx, and he had some of the most questionable, most confusing chat messages I have ever seen in my entire life, and he has lived on in infamy since that day. So sometimes he kind of just like pops up as a side character in my chat now, so look out for him in my next streams. Also, like the video and subscribe if you'd like to see a Rekhze and Assxx collab. The next question comes from Ayer, and they ask, what's your opinion on making modern 1.21 versions of Hypixel game modes? I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I'd love to learn like a new version of Minecraft because I have literally never, ever played like 1.9 PvP at all or like any of the new stuff in Minecraft. So I think it'd be pretty interesting to learn. I would just like it that they wouldn't kill like 1.8 PvP if they did that. Like, I'd like to be able to do both on Hypixel if that's possible. But I think some newer versions of Minecraft with like certain game modes, I think that could be pretty cool. The next question comes from Pormich, and they ask, how did you come up with your IGN? So I actually didn't come up with my IGN. My brother did. My account is actually originally my brother's, and he just gave it to me when he didn't feel like playing Minecraft anymore. But I actually asked him about it like a few years back, like how he came up with the name. And if I remember correctly, this might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what he said. So my brother used to play League of Legends, unfortunately, and he was looking for a name for his Smurf account, and he came across this like Reddit thread that said that like a good name idea for a Smurf account would be to take your 3 most played legends and take like the first 2 characters out of each of them, and then make a name out of that, and that's how Rekhze was born. So I think that's how it went, but I'm not 100% sure. The next question comes from Kickheart, and they ask, why did you start and keep grinding Skywars, and how did you first get into the community, and what were your first thoughts of it? So I kind of already answered the first question in this video, so I'm not going to answer it again because just for the sake of time. But the second part about the community, the way I got into the community was just by playing a lot, and eventually I just started to be more like integrated into the community. Like I was grinding stars like a lot when I first joined, and I guess like some people, you know, took notice of it, and yeah, I just kind of eventually became friends with some people, and you know, I'm definitely much more in the community now than I was like at first. But my first thoughts of it was honestly like they weren't really that bad. Like I saw a lot of good about it, but I also saw a lot of bad about it. So I'd say it's pretty neutral. I mean, there's always good and bad in every single community, but there's definitely a lot of bad in Skywars. But I still say there is some good in Skywars, and I think that is very important to not take for granted. Also, if you want to see a screenshot montage of my Skywars or YouTube journey, just check out my 500 sub special. The next question comes from Ian's, and they ask, will you go for leaderboards? Yeah, I think I am going for leaderboards. The next question comes from LoopL09, and they ask, if I get 12 accounts and make lots of games like prestige parties to get easy wins and XP, is that considered boosting? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's boosting, man. The next question comes from Forums, and they ask, who would win, 1 billion lions or one of every Pokemon? Well, 1 billion lions is quite a bit of lions. I think the Pokemon would win because they could literally like control the elements, bro. They could do some crazy stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna place my money on Pokemon. The next question comes from a name that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm sorry. And they ask, what games do you enjoy playing besides Minecraft? Well, I actually really am into rhythm games. I really only play like Mania right now. But like yeah, I've tried like a few rhythm games and they're really fun to me. So you know, I'd like to get into some more rhythm games in the future, but yeah, that's definitely something I enjoy playing in my free time. The next question comes from Bado, and they ask, why do you still play the game so much after getting a 100 star? Well, I still enjoy Skywars, and you know, I have a passion for making content out of it, so yeah, I mean, for now, I'm gonna keep playing it. You know, maybe I'll take a break sometime in the future, but you know, like I said earlier in the video, I don't think I'll ever like truly quit the game. But you know, I still am having fun, so I think that's good. The next question comes from 6 months, and they ask, could you ever imagine doing IRL content? If not, why? For now, as it is, I really cannot imagine that. Like, for now, I'd like to keep my online identity, like, separate from my real-world identity. I just think that, you know, at least for the time being, those paths should not cross. And either way, I just like my privacy, so I'd rather just not do that for now, at least. So, yeah, my stance might change on that sometime in the future, but for now, that's my opinion on it. The next question comes from iMazy, and they ask, do you prefer rods or snowballs when it comes to PvP? So the thing is, rods and snowballs are actually both very good, except they have different like situational uses. Like rods, the thing that's good about them is that you can use them infinitely because of infinite rodding, which is very good. So you'll never run out of a rod, but it has a very limited range, so it may not be very good in certain situations, like if you want to knock a player off, but it's very good in like close combat. But snowballs are very good for like sniping a couple of quick void kills and stuff like that. But of course, you can run out of them very quickly, so that's the downside of them. The next question comes from Mech the Goat and my thumbnail creator, and they ask, you're getting $500 million, but you are being followed by Lucas D10 for your entire life. Would you take it? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think any amount of money would convince me to do that. The next question comes from E. Daniel, and they ask, what makes you happy? And for the second part of his question, I am not religious at all. And honestly, I'm always down to learn any sort of new perspectives or philosophies on the world. The next question comes from Overland Fox, and they ask, where are you from? The land of freedom. That's where I'm from. Last but not least, Lobster asks, who would you say was someone you looked up to when starting to play the game? Now, this may seem weird, but I actually really didn't have anybody like that. I mean, like, not that I can remember, because, I don't know, I kind of just played the game for myself, and I just wanted to achieve my own goals, and there wasn't, like, any particular player I, like, I guess, looked up to in that way. I mean, there was definitely lots of players that I respected and that were, like, that I thought were very good, but I don't know. I guess there wasn't exactly like a specific role model, I guess, or something like that. I didn't really have that when I started to play. So that concludes the Q&A. Thank you all so much for submitting questions, as it was really fun answering all of them, and I appreciate you all so much for wanting to know more about me. And once again, thank you so much for 2,000 subscribers. This is just one step closer to YouTube rank. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe if you enjoyed. As always, I'll see you in the next one.